Now, if anyone doesn't believe that food affects behaviour, this randomised controlled trial, impeccable methodology, nobody could fault the methodology here, is the one to send them to read. It was published now over 10 years ago, and many people just know this as the prison study. Basically, 231 young men in a high-security prison, and all they were given was the basic NHS multivitamin mineral, together with a fatty acid supplement, providing those omega-3s and 6s. So we're talking recommended daily intakes, that's all. No megadoses, nothing special. Just give them what ought to be in everybody's diet in the first place. And the outcome measure was disciplinary offences. Now, it's a very robust outcome, because in institutions like this matters for your parole, this matters for your privileges. So there is a really rigorous, it's almost a proven court procedure of were you guilty of a major or minor disciplinary offence. 26% reduction in antisocial behaviour in those who simply got given the basic essential nutrients that should be in your diet in the first place. If you focused, that was the most rigorous analysis, what they call intent to treat, you must include everyone who was randomised to receive treatment, even if they never finished the study, they moved to another prison, they changed their mind and withdrew, whatever. If you focused on those who took the supplements for at least 2 weeks of a maximum 9 months, 34% was the difference, no change on placebo. 37% if you focused on the major offences, almost all of which involved real, actual violence. That's quite profound. It's extraordinary how little take-up there has been, how little interest, to be honest, from the Home Office or other authorities. Why? He finds this difficult to understand. How cheap would this be? And the diets of young offenders out in the community, or potentially at least as bad, if not worse, than the diets that were being provided, because that's my next point. The prison was actually providing, on their limited budget, meals that, had the prisoners eaten them, really did meet dietary guidelines, did provide all the nutrients that this supplement was the safety net provision, but free choice. Choose what you yourself eat, have your own junk food sent in to even a high security prison. This is the kind of diet that those young men were routinely eating. Spot the vegetables and fruits and spot anything terribly healthy here. We have the same poor food choices that go on in children, of course, the school meals thing, and all of the food providers who hang around what's now officially called the fringe, hang around the school gates, sell your stuff, price it right, and you will be able to mop up and take away the demand for those healthy, well-balanced school meals that really it will be rather better if most children were eating. So again, these are old data, the patterns have, if anything, got worse, not better. Now, as for our famous Eat Well plate, it's a model, it's a framework. I won't go into some of my thoughts on some sections of this, but it's better than what's going on for a lot of people. And I particularly want to draw your attention to fully 1/3 of that plate should be those vegetables and fruits. Yeah, right, I can hear you all saying. And as for this, in my view, this shouldn't actually be on any eat well or healthy eating plate. These are basically the confectionery, the cakes, biscuits, sweets, crisps, stuff which, quite honestly, its nutritional value compared with its calories are negligible, if not negative. So to my mind, that really shouldn't be there at all, but let's allow a little sliver of the plate to be those sorts of things. Yes, there are things like bad foods, and we all know what they are. It's the food industry speaking. And as for freedom of choice, when you haven't got the information, or you're too young to make informed choices, or you haven't got the money, or the foods aren't available, freedom of choice doesn't come into it. So we have a problem. But let's go back to the role of nutrition and its role in literally nourishing bodies and minds. We do now know there are many features of this modern Western-type diet that are not only novel in evolutionary terms, they are literally disease-causing, pathological. So the fancy names for them are all up there, and those of you who are reading the slides will have got that already, but let's talk plain. Sugar, fat, vitamins and minerals, which many diets, as I've just said, are lacking many of what are known to be essential nutrients. And then the fibre issue should be flagged. This is obviously an old set of slides. Lack of in modern diets. But sugar and so-called refined carbohydrates, white rice, white flour, the refined grains that have had the fibre and some of the essential nutrients stripped from them, they act almost identically in the body, but I'm going to come to something special about some forms of sugar. We've known for a very long time, and this is one of the most reproducible results you'll ever find, that diets that are high in sugar and refined carbs are pretty much always and everywhere associated with obesity, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, but in the mental health and performance domain, depression, dementia, I could add ADHD. Everywhere the modern Western type diet goes, and it's high in sugar and refined carbs, these conditions start to increase in prevalence. But again, without randomised, double-blind, placebo-controlled trials, we need to be careful about causality. Now, here is a very controversial topic. Is sugar actually addictive? Now, these are some of the early animal studies that showed, insofar as that word means anything, and it's very hard to pin down, the answer is yeah. I mean, weakly so, but they activate the very same reward pathways as our classic drugs of abuse. There has been an abundance now of research that has gone on to support and extend this, and insofar as where the animal research has got to now, it is indisputable. Sugar is addictive. As for the human studies, tricky one that. Without brain biopsies or some of the studies that for ethical reasons you might have trouble doing this, it's going to be rather difficult to prove that. But the evidence we do have suggests, yeah, we're not that different from the animals here.